I want to point out that a lot of what I'm about to share is not just my opinion, but it is summed up. A lot of it was AI assisted. And so when I'm saying, what does AI have to say? We basically just typed in what is the difference between SiteGround and GoDaddy when it comes to hosting. And it did point out that they're both major players in the industry, but SiteGround consistently stands out as a superior choice for performance, security, support, and overall value. I agree. Everyone on here, if we do your website, we actually include SiteGround in your package, so this is not an upsell. I don't have a dog in the hunt, so to speak, other than the fact that we pay for SiteGround. It's actually kind of expensive, as you'll see through this. That's one thing the AI pulled out of that is that they consider it expensive. I consider it worth it. And so when Dennis was going through this last night for one of our clients, he was on with GoDaddy for the entire evening. He didn't have control of most of it. He was just bringing it to their attention what was breaking. And so I'm going to bounce down through some of these. We're going to bring in real world experiences. Some of you have had your sites crash on GoDaddy. And once again, today I'm not just trashing on GoDaddy. GoDaddy, they're up about 99.9% of the time. They're faster than most. So they actually do have a lot of good about them. Like I say, I'm taking some very boring stuff and turning it into something a little bit less boring. So I apologize. But with SiteGround, and you can see your synopsis over here. I'll send out the recording as well. You can screenshot it. I'm totally fine with you doing that. But SiteGround, they're excellent when it comes to performance and speed. A lot of people on here know that I'm a rodeo guy. On a bull or a bronc, if you're on for 8 seconds, it's a qualified ride. That's how it used to be. If your site takes 8 seconds to load up now, that is not a qualified ride, and people just they move on to something else. That's one of the reasons that we're moving to SiteGround, and we're recommending a lot of other folks too. Or, if you're not a client, I see a number of people logging in that aren't 11 clients. This is not a sales pitch for SiteGround. We're recommending it to our clients. We bought a package deal with them, and I'm just highly recommending that you look at your speed. You can do a speed test, and if you're not as speedy as you need to be, then you need to look for hosting that is going to do that. GoDaddy does offer upgraded hosting. It's still not as fast as what SiteGround would be, or Bluehost, or some of these other hosting platforms that are more focused on speed. And so, why is SiteGround better? It's cloud-based, and the infrastructure is set up for performance and the speed advantages. So not only did they come along after GoDaddy, so GoDaddy really kind of paved the way for some of these companies, but they took what they knew from GoDaddy and from some of the other pioneers, learned from them, and just made them better, is really what it boils down to. A lot of you know that Ream Heating and Air is one of our largest clients. Well, they're now our largest client, and we've taken engineer speak for a long time and turned it into something that everybody else can understand. We did the same thing for Samsung. And so we have taken a lot of engineer speak here, and we're summing it up. This is my sum up of what is happening. So that is, as you look at this structure, that is why it's set up this way. This is your synopsis. I'm not so much dumbing it down as I am simplifying it. Uptime and reliability. We had a client website go down yesterday, and that they went down. So basically it was a security plugin, and you pay extra for this, by the way, but it's a security plugin that forces the other softwares to update. And it says, well, you have to be as secure as I am, or you're not on the boat. And so it sank the boat, is basically what happened. And so Dennis jumped on, and it took about 12 hours between him and GoDaddy to figure out what had happened and to get everything updated the way that it needed to be. So in their 99.9%, if you take 99.9%, that means that for 3 days a year, you're going to have a problem. because we have 365 days. So 99.9% sounds really good. But when you're talking about our stress level here at 11, if it's going to go down 3 or 4 times a year, that is not acceptable. That is not something that we like. And so we held meetings over this type of thing and said, well, how do we get above 99.9%? I know that sounds unreasonable. Welcome to working with Sam. And a lot of our employees are probably laughing right now. 99.9% is not acceptable when our client website is going to go down 3 or 4 times a year. It's not an acceptable number. And so it's kind of misleading because, it's not saying that it's up 99.9% of the time, but when our client website went down for 12 hours yesterday, that is not 99.9% of the year. Do you see what I'm saying? It can go down for more than this. That is just a general rule of thumb. So with SiteGround, they have an at or above guarantee that they're going to be at least that. And so GoDaddy, they say, yeah, we're going to also guarantee that, but they're not at or above, they're at 99.9% of the time. It makes a difference, is what I'm getting at. That 0.1%, the at or above is big when it comes to that. Um, SiteGround, it's been near flawless for us. And so it's been a fantastic experience in the last 6 months that we've migrated. Yes, we migrated the 11 site first. We were the sacrificial lamb, if you will. We wanted to make sure that it worked before we recommended it to all of our clients. We migrated 25 landing pages as well, along with the main 11 site. It's been working fantastic. We have had zero downtime in those 6 months. So if you're hearing from me or from Gab or from Ivan, somebody is recommending that we migrate your website to SiteGround, that's what they're talking about, is they want it to be more reliable. Okay, so security, the SiteGround security has been excellent. Like I say, the problem that we had yesterday with GoDaddy, or excuse me, last night with GoDaddy, was security related, and it turned into an IT problem because when that particular app shut down, it wouldn't tell us what other apps it was blocking. And so that created an issue. Um, SiteGround does block the malicious traffic better than GoDaddy. It hasn't been a 100% perfect, I'm going to be honest. We had one site that Google Ads came back and said, look, you have malicious software on your site. We couldn't find it. We rebuilt it, still couldn't find it. And so we ended up having Google go through it all and finally giving us a clean bill of health on it. But at the same time, it still happened. So I'm going to bring it up. I want to be totally transparent that that did happen. But we got our client's website back up and going, and it has been far fewer and far between off of SiteGround than GoDaddy hosting. So I did want to bring that up when it comes to blocking malicious software and somebody coming into your site. That is, in my opinion, the worst thing that can happen is that Google says you have malicious software. We don't know what it is, but you have it. Imagine walking into a doctor and he says you're sick. We don't know why, but you're dying. And in the meantime, you can't see any of your friends. That's pretty much what happens when Google Ads says, hey, you have malicious software, then everything is banned until they agree that it is fixed. And it's anybody that's been involved with that, it's a nasty process. Google won't, they're not specific on what script it is until you get to the very end and you're like, there's no script left. What is it? And so very frustrating process, but it happens far fewer with SiteGround because the security is so much better. With customer support, you don't really have to worry about this. We do. Last night, Dennis, everyone that he talked to at GoDaddy was super frustrating because it is very limited on who you can chat with when it's after hours. So we are recommending to this particular client that they switch over to SiteGround. Once again, it costs them nothing to switch, but we are recommending it. Customer support, this to us is a big deal. To you, it's not. Well, it kind of is because the problems are resolved quicker when you have better customer support. And user experience tools, once again, this doesn't really apply to you that much, but we are faster with SiteGround with the tools that and the dashboard that they do have. Um, GoDaddy has not really updated their panels in a long time, but SiteGround is constantly updating them. We like that. Value for your money. Once again, we don't charge extra to our clients for moving to SiteGround. We just eat that because it is that much better. And going forward, I don't know what's going to happen there because it is relatively expensive. But any of you that we have not done your website, and then you see a value come back out of that, that is the majority of that is hosting from SiteGround. And so the value for money spent, I see a big value in it. So if I have to pay a guy to be up all night working on your website, that's expensive. And so I would rather pay SiteGround for a flawless experience than to pay GoDaddy uh, and have our clients pay GoDaddy actually, because all of our clients that are on GoDaddy pay for it themselves. Uh, so for me, you know what a value I see in it because I pay SiteGround so that we don't have to be up all night working on your website. Yeah, we like to do it during business hours. It's far less expensive. I'm not paying time and a half, all that kind of fun stuff. So, WordPress integration. So we can move most websites over pretty flawlessly. We like to change it up when we do it. The sky is the limit when we change your design. If you're like, hey, I've seen this other website. I love this feature. This car drives in on the screen, or it kind of glistens a little bit, or when you're hovering over text, it expands. Those types of things. We can do any of that. Sky's the limit. Uh, if you want 100 pages, there's no upcharge for that. If you want 50 pages, that's fine. It just depends on your preference and the recommendations that are made. If you're all makes and models, for instance, you should have all of the models that you service referenced somewhere on your website. There is power if somebody has a VW and they go on your site and look at VW services. There is power in that because it makes you an expert in their field. So WordPress integration, if you have a website right now that's WordPress, if it's not, Kukui, for instance, will not release their websites. We'll have to totally rebuild it, but you can bring your pictures and your copy over. When I say copy, I'm talking about the verbiage. You can bring that over, and so all that is transferable. And one of the reasons we like WordPress, there are translators that we really like. The United States and Canada are where the majority of our clients are, and the translators are fantastic. If somebody's in Toronto and they want to click on Chinese with WordPress, it has the best translators. It will transliterate as well as translate. So WordPress is great and it's more stable. I really like that software. Pricing, like I say, for you, all of our clients, it doesn't really matter because elleven pays for it. We include that. For us, it allows us to give a better experience to our clients, and so we pay the extra money for it. And this came directly from AI, and so it just basically says, while both have price hikes on renewal, the features included in SiteGround's plan make the renewal cost more justifiable for the superior service received. I agree. And so yes, everybody comes with a money back guarantee and all that kind of fun stuff. If you didn't like SiteGround for some reason, you could migrate back. We have not had one client that has migrated back. They've all loved the SiteGround experience. If we transfer the website, say you decide, hey, my son's going to take over my business. He has a marketing degree. He's going to do the marketing, for instance. We can ship it out to GoDaddy or whoever you want, or we can ship it out to your own SiteGround. The process of moving it takes about 5 minutes with SiteGround. With GoDaddy, it's a process that takes 2 weeks. It really does. It's arduous. And so, at any rate, thank you, everyone. I know that today was a little more boring than it was last week. We're making recommendations that are not just today. We're making recommendations for 2026.